namaste, friends, and welcome back to the podcast. I have a few questions for you. Have you completely lost your desire to have sex? Is it something that you have to put on your to-do list or you feel pressured to do by your partner? Do you feel like when you do have sex, your body just doesn't respond the way that it used to? Do you feel like every time your partner reaches out for physical affection and you have a sense that it might lead to sex, that you kind of recoil from their touch? Do you think this is just a normal part of aging? If this is your experience, if that describes you, do you think that that is just a normal part of aging? Well, on today's episode, we are going to talk about all of this because I have a guest expert with me. Her name is Dr. Julie Merriman, and she is a powerhouse. You're going to love her. She is an author, an educator, a speaker, and a clinician with more than 25 years of experience with this exact topic. She recently released a book called Are We Gonna Have Sex or What? And I love that title. And she also has a podcast called Sexy After 50. She blends polyvagal science, somatic wisdom, and chakra psychology. And I love that about her because she's taking very clinical science like polyvagal science and incorporating it with somatic wisdom, wisdom of the body, and the chakra psychology, which you all know I am very passionate about. So she really blends these three things together to what she calls unfreeze or melt the nervous system, because she says that a lot of this is related to us living in a state of fight or flight for years and even decades. And after so much time of continuously living in that state of fight or flight, it just kills our desire and it leads to burnout. And that this issue of not having any desire is not our age. It may not even be our hormones, but it's this overstimulated nervous system that doesn't know how to relax, open up, and receive. And so we're going to talk all about that today. She does go into something called polyvagal theory. We don't go deeply into it. And so if you want to learn more about that, I have another episode. I had a trauma specialist on, and we took a deep dive into that. You don't have to understand polyvagal theory to get a ton out of this episode. But if you're a nerd like I am and you want to know more and more all the time, that episode was fantastic. So I'll link that in the show notes. Julie also discusses how important it is in this process of coming back to desire to become embodied, to really start to befriend our bodies and be able to live inside our bodies. And I just so happen to have released 3 episodes on this exact title, idea. So I will link those in the show notes as well. All right, friends, enjoy the episode. All right, Julie, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
I am honored to get to be with you today. Thank you.
I am very excited about this conversation because one of the topics I am most passionate about is nervous system regulation. So you are an expert in that. So I'm really excited to dive into that. But this other piece I have not dived too much into, which is how our nervous system impacts our sexuality or our interest in having sex, or our degree that we can feel open to having sex and feeling sensual and sexy. So midlife women, I think this is a struggle for many of them for many different reasons. And we can get into all of that, as we move through the episode. But I think it's really a common struggle. So I'm very excited that you are here to talk about it.
I am glad to get the word out.
Yeah. I think for many women, they think that maybe they just aren't interested anymore. Like maybe they've just lost the desire, or maybe they think that they've lost the desire for their particular partner. You are a counselor as well, so I'm sure you're working with women and hearing all of the reasons why they may be feeling this way. So give us some common reasons when women come to you that they say they think that the problem is.
Sure. And it's as varied as a fruit basket, if you will. There's because we all, we're individual and we approach things, but some patterns I do see. Um, I tend to work with kind of overachieving women, although tell me a woman who isn't,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
But a lot of my gals are overeducated, with masters or doctorates, or they and in a very demanding field. As a nurse, you're
Hmm.
having to make
Hmm.
life-changing, life or death decisions all day
Hmm.
long. As a
Yeah.
counselor, same thing. I mean, that impacts our nervous system. And we don't
Yeah.
even realize it. We just adjust to this overcapacity where we
Hmm.
go and go and go and
Hmm.
push through. So there's a cumulative effect, if you will.
Hmm.
You've been doing it 10, 20, 30 years. Your body has been living on this cocktail of adrenaline and cortisol,
Yes.
and we've
Yes.
we've been braced for
Hmm.
20, 10, 20, 30 years, taking care of our family, holding everyone together. Our
Yeah.
little amygdala is worn out because she's
Hmm.
scanning the environment for danger, which is what her design is. But
Yeah.
no longer do we have that saber-toothed tiger. We have
Right.
deadlines. We have a husband touching us. We're like,
Right.
one more thing. God, no.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so we've been in this sympathetic or dorsal vagal state, if you look at the nervous system piece,
Hmm.
for so many years. We're
Hmm.
braced, and our frontal lobe is very selfish with energy. So our frontal
Hmm.
lobe is not fully available to us when we're in that stress situation.
Hmm.
And girl, the first thing that's going to go is desire and pleasure, because that's you last thing a cave woman needs to do is get pregnant when she's being chased by
Right.
saber-toothed tiger.
Yes.
So I see women, and so that's kind of a background. And but what I see in the gals I'm working with, they're exhausted.
Yeah.
One more thing, sex feels like something on a to-do list that it's like, I don't have time for that crap.
Yeah.
They are floating heads of competence. They have complete they we think we can think our way out of this, but we cannot. It's an
Hmm.
embodiment situation. And they
Yeah.
have not lived inside their body in probably 30 years. The
Yeah.
last time
Yeah.
they made mud pies out in the backyard, when you're 7 or 8. We leave our body. Isn't that
Hmm.
crazy how we do that?
It
This
is.
wonderful machine that it's not a machine. My grandmother always called it a machine, but
Hmm.
this wonderful, or your temple. She called it your temple. That gets us through life, and we forget how to live in it.
Yes.
And that's where
Yes.
desire lives, in our body. So she's
Yeah.
very, I had a lady the other day, and I could just see it. She said, my life force just feels like it's gone. And I thought,
Mm.
man, that's really,
That's such a
yeah,
great way to describe it. Yes.
right.
Yeah. And it's funny that we're having this conversation now. This was totally unplanned, but it's the month of May to my listeners. And the whole month of May on my podcast is about coming home to your body, returning to your body. That's every episode is going to be a different aspect of that because yes, I think that we have been trained by our culture to, and sometimes other factors too, trauma. There are other things
Right,
that
right.
contribute. But I think there's a big societal piece that says live from the neck up. Everything important occurs from the neck up. And you can think your way out of any situation or into any situation.
Right.
But that is such a false understanding of how human beings actually operate.
Oh, absolutely. And I love that I call it, when I'm working with my gals, it's her homecoming to get
Mhm.
back into her body. And I love you're doing episodes on that. But
Yeah.
absolutely. Um, if you think, and again, I'm a professor at a university and I train students to be counselors. And a
Mhm.
part of, and I'm sure it's a nurse too, part of what
Mhm.
we do is to sit with people in very distressful
Yeah.
emotions and situations. And
Yes.
you have to train someone to do that. My new counselors are like, I can't do that. What
Yeah.
happens, we have understandings about our emotions as to what our parents had. And by that I mean And I'm 63, so I was raised in a time where my daddy would say, "I'll give you something to cry about."
Oh,
And
yes,
sure,
I heard that growing up too. Yep, 100%.
and
Yeah.
sure enough, he would. But
Yeah. Just give you another thing to cry about. Yes.
that's right, right.
Yes.
We're never valid. Not, I won't say never because I have teenage grandchildren and they have a very different experience of emotions. But we're raised to accept our emotions by what we learn from our parents, and negative emotions. And our parents do their best. I'm not
Yes.
I love my daddy and
Yes.
my mother, but
Yes.
if they could not tolerate that emotion, they did not validate that for us.
Hmm.
We learned very early to appease,
Hmm.
to get to stay in the tribe, which is a very primitive thought. We didn't even know we were thinking it, but there was
Yeah.
a time if we got kicked out, we'd die. Now they weren't going to
Yes.
kick us out, but our little nervous systems did not know that.
Yeah.
So here we arrive at 30, 40, 50, 60, and if we haven't done our work to really understand the schema we're bringing forward,
Hmm.
we have no idea how to feel those emotions.
Yeah.
They've not been validated for us.
Yes.
And society kind of does that, if you will.
Hmm.
There's public emotions, right? And then
Right.
there's those messy emotions that, man, I'm not going there. And those
Hmm.
messy emotions are where the richness is. There
Yeah.
is not a bad emotion. So
Mm.
many ladies I work with, and maybe you've seen this, but she has spent years swallowing her truth to keep the peace, the peace.
Yeah.
It's kind of our job.
Hmm.
We're holding the
Hmm.
family together.
Yes.
We don't want to be hysterical, so we keep the peace. And our nervous system is so confused.
Yeah.
Um, it does, I mean, and let me just skip over to this because I think it fits. We have obligatory sex to keep the peace.
Hmm.
We will
Hmm.
fake an orgasm to make someone happy and keep the
Right.
peace.
Right.
And and that impacts our nervous system. We
Yeah.
don't even think about it. All those little things. Um, Not to mention, we're so braced for so many years. And think when you're braced,
Yeah.
ladies, just we tend to, our shoulders, we don't even know we're doing it. Shoulders
Yes.
go up, everyone squeeze, drop,
Yeah.
feel the
Yeah.
difference.
Yes. Yes.
We are braced for so many years that pelvic floor is like a rock. And then we say, do
Hmm.
Kegels.
Right.
It's like, I am Kegeled out, man. But our genitals aren't getting the blood flow
Yeah.
that we get when we're in that nice relaxed state. And these
Yeah.
are just things that go on when that nervous system is so dysregulated. And as we visited before we started, I'm in a very dysregulated state right this minute due to some things at work. And I know, and I've been married close to 40 years to an amazing man that I am still very attracted to, and
Hmm.
we have a great sex life. But this morning he went to touch me, and I was like, "You don't know all the
Oh.
syllabi I have to redo." No,
Yes.
but that happens to us as we go through life.
Yeah.
We don't make space for pleasure. Well, we can't when we're in that nervous
Hmm.
when we're dysregulated.
Yeah. And
So
there's not I don't think there's a big cultural push for us to do it either. Like it doesn't feel, it feels unnecessary. It feels like, oh, that's a nice to have. But I really have to do all of these other things. I have to work. I have to take care of my kids. I have to do the laundry and the dishes and,
right.
all of these things that I have to do. If there's time and energy left over for pleasure, then great. And I feel like open to it, great. But it's not a priority, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't think we prioritize pleasure in our culture.
No, or play, or play.
Yes,
And
or play. No,
I,
yeah.
I'm also a registered play therapist, so I bring it into I'm a very somatic therapist. I use a lot of chakra psychology
Mhm.
because it gives my ladies a place to go in their body. When we
Yeah.
think about the polyvagal system and our vagus nerve, how it's mapped through our body, it
Mhm.
kind of looks like spaghetti on the screen to me. It's
Mhm.
just going
Yeah.
everywhere.
Uh,
But the energy centers that we talk about in chakra psychology, girl, a neuroscientist is going to talk to you about the polyvagal theory and what the vagus nerve does. A
mhm.
yoga instructor is going to talk to you about the chakra system and what those energy centers do, it's
Mm-hmm.
the same thing. They
Yeah.
run through the very same system, through our body in the same way.
Yes.
But I find with my ladies I'm working with, if I'm trying to get a body scan, trying to teach them to do a body scan, it helps
Mm-hmm.
to have them understand where the chakras lie, just to
Yeah.
give them kind of a concrete, I know it's abstract, but still more of a concrete
Yes.
place to go with that body scan.
Yeah.
But what I see so much when, and I kind of, my 63-year-old brain hit me and I apologize, but
That's
when I was,
okay. It happens all the time on this show. This is a show for midlifers.
I love it. I love it. The brain fog. But talking about emotions, our beautiful ladies who swallow our truth to keep the peace, that goes, we end up with a lot of resentment because our
Yes.
needs are not getting met. And
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, at the end of the day, the beautiful soul in the mirror is responsible for meeting our needs. I
Yes.
say with love and gentleness,
Mm-hmm.
because what we're doing, we think we're just trying to keep things going.
Yeah.
But that's something I really try to help my ladies reframe, because then they feel guilty for having resentment. Like
Mm-hmm.
resentment is a very sacred emotion to get in touch with, because it's going to give you a lot of information about what you need. And I think we kind of glaze over that.
Yeah.
But I think that's an important component to remove the shame and guilt. It's not helping.
Yes.
Understand why that, and I'm holding my heart chakra right here, because that throat chakra, swallow your truth, it goes into your
Mm-hmm.
heart. Those are
Yes.
relationships and things that
Yes.
can get in trouble when we're really dysregulated.
Yes. I really resonate with that. I think that we really are ultimately responsible for our own happiness, our own joy, our own access to pleasure, and we can communicate our needs to those around us and ask for what we want. But we can't just expect our partners to know what we want. They are not us. They are very very different often than we are. We often marry people that are very different from ourselves. And so we have a responsibility to be upfront and honest about what we need. But that does require us to know what we need.
Absolutely. There's skill sets there. You have to understand what you need, which that, I mean, I worked with a lot of people in 30 years in my clinical office, and they will just look at me like I have four eyes. Like, what do you mean? What do I need? I don't
Yes.
know. You have
Haven't
to,
thought about it in so long.
yeah. You mean I
Yeah.
get to need something? I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Two, yes, you have to ask for it. But I also teach, and I think this is important, just because we ask for it doesn't mean the other person's going to say yes.
Hmm.
And that's
Hmm.
fine. There is
Yeah.
something very powerful for our nervous system to just ask. That's very
Right.
empowering. That's
Yes.
solar plexus empowerment.
Yes.
I always have to prepare myself. Can I accept a no when I ask for this? Because my temper fits. That's the place for a temper fit. But that asking is important.
Hmm.
And then if they say yes, the other skill is to accept that help.
Yes.
Because sometimes it's like, oh no, no, really, I'm okay.
Yeah.
No. But I mean, those are very definite skill sets that we don't always have that muscle built around.
Yeah, yeah. And you're reminding me of so I am a yoga teacher, and so the law of giving and receiving is part of yogic wisdom, and that we should always be in one of those two states. We're either giving or receiving, and the idea is that we're in balance. Those two states are in
Ah,
balance. We don't want to be always giving because that leads to depletion, but we don't want to always be receiving either because really we are here to be in service. And so it's this beautiful balance. But I wonder if you notice that women find the receiving piece hard. They're give and give and give, and they feel like they don't feel either worthy of receiving or receiving feels uncomfortable. And if that's the case, why you think that is and how that is related to the nervous system.
oh, that's eminently a huge piece. Eminently a huge piece. And I mean, as far as just having your husband go down on you, that's
Hmm.
very much receiving. That's very much
Yeah.
opening. And I have so many women who just cannot do it. Not,
Yeah.
which is I know on the continuum that's an extreme, but
Yeah.
I think that it does bring up a very important point. Our root chakra has got to be balanced so that we feel safe in our bodies.
Hmm.
And when pleasure goes offline, when we're having a hard time receiving, something about it probably doesn't feel safe.
Hmm.
And that's really some root chakra work to be done so that we can, girl, if you don't feel safe in your body, it's
Hmm.
very hard to receive
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
And it could, I mean, we could go through all the chakras, but it could also have a piece of, oh, I don't deserve this. Oh, I don't want to be a burden. No, I don't want to bother you.
Hmm.
Kinds of schema and messages that we've carried through our life. I do a lot of inner child work with the gals I work with because we carry some messages that no longer serve us. And if you
Yeah.
look at Adler's theory, which I believe he was a theorist in the classic theories of counseling, but there's a reason for every behavior. And I believe that's true, but some of it's based on some old schema. If
Hmm.
children don't understand what's going on, they will make a story up to
Yeah.
explain that situation. And I've discovered with the ladies I've worked with over the years that, oh, my Lanta, your 8-year-old is in here with this story that you have made up that, made sense at 8,
Yes.
but no longer makes sense. It just doesn't fit. But
Yeah.
we don't always take the time to go in and really excavate what's going on with us. But that's
Yes.
part of the homecoming. We got to excavate to find
Yeah.
ourselves,
Yeah.
to get
Oh,
home.
oh, absolutely. And it's a beautiful, I mean, such a beautiful and cool process to go through. But it also can be uncomfortable. I mean, I think a lot of the reasons why women ch unconsciously choose to live in their heads and not in their bodies is because whenever they dip down into their bodies, it's like, oh, that doesn't feel good. There's a lot of,
I'm
get me out of here.
not going there, man. I don't even know her. That
Yes, I want to numb that section. I'm just gonna solve everything from up here.
right.
And so it's understandable. Like if something feels uncomfortable, it's our natural response to pull away from it. That's a survival mechanism,
Right.
right? So how do
Yeah.
you help women to start becoming okay, kind of dipping down into the body?
Yeah. I help her remember, and I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. The issues are in the tissues.
Oh,
Our
yes.
fascia holds
Hmm.
memory. I mean,
Yeah.
the body holds memory. Well,
Yes.
Vander Kolk's, never can say his last name, but The Body Keeps Score, that
Yes.
book
Yes. Hmm.
is on point. And
Yes.
now we've got lots of good books out there that show how important
Yeah.
it is to get into your body, to
Hmm.
release things. So the very first thing we talk about is just, and I might have her read The Body Keeps Score, or I
Hmm.
mean, that's kind of a heavy read, but I might.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
to really bring home the fact that those you can't get past, you cannot work around this. You have to
Yeah.
go right through it. And absolutely, I'm licensed with the state of Texas as a counselor, and so I have this intake paperwork, and on my intake paperwork we talk about it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Mm.
It's going to get
Hmm.
messy. And that does not mean you're doing it wrong. In fact, I'm going to throw a little party
Yes. Yes.
that it's getting messy for you because you're starting to work on some stuff, and
Yeah.
it is not one and done. And you
Hmm.
might take 3 steps forward and 2 back, and that's okay. I
Right.
just want to normalize those things for everyone
Yeah.
who's listening.
Yeah.
It is not this immediate path. So we talk about all those things. And I feel like part of my role is also to help her remember baby steps she has taken. Because
Hmm.
ladies, that's how it happens. It is
Yeah.
not this overnight, like,
Yeah.
woo. It's like growing a baby.
Yeah.
It's a slow process and it's messy.
Yeah.
But I try to get her embodied first through body scans.
Okay.
Just and really introduce the idea of curiosity because we are so
Hmm.
judgy. Like, and
Hmm.
judgment, though as
Yeah.
mean as we are to ourselves, is taking pleasure offline. It is very
Yeah.
hard to lay with your partner and expect any kind of pleasure when you're beating the living dickens out of yourself, or
Yes.
my legs aren't shaved, I got cellulite, I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'm 63, you should see what my
Yeah.
mother's bottom has attached to mine. But but we, so teaching her to approach things with curiosity and
Mm-hmm.
self-compassion. And there's
Mm-hmm.
some great research on self-compassion by Kristen Neff here at the University of
Yes.
Texas. She's got a great website if
Oh,
people aren't familiar.
I didn't know she was at the University of Texas. She's
Yeah.
fabulous. I highly
Yes.
recommend everyone. Her website is so many free practices on there. Like she's
Right.
amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. And has a great book. I have my students read first semester because we're so mean to ourselves.
Yes.
So approaching that body scan with curiosity and
Mm-hmm.
self-compassion, and you're just looking for physical sensations.
Mm-hmm.
There's no right or wrong, because that's the other thing. I'm doing this wrong.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Just what do you notice? And maybe
Yeah.
it's heartburn.
Right.
Maybe it's because digestion's coming offline if you're
All right.
nervous, fight or
Yes.
flight. Maybe it's I feel a tickle in my tummy. There's no right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's the very first thing. We're going to get
Yeah.
her into a body scan, and it may
Yeah.
take 6 months for her to really.
Yes, I have had, so I also teach meditation, and one of the types of meditation we do is an interoception meditation. So you literally, I just ask the meditator to go in their body and find sensation anywhere they find it. It could be good sensation, bad sensation, kind of neutral sensation. Just find wherever feel sensation. And then once you stay with that a little bit, if the next sensation that kind of feel that comes to mind, move your attention there. And we just kind of keep moving around the body. And I have had people say, I felt nothing. I felt
Right.
nothing. 10
Yeah.
minutes of sitting there with my body, I felt nothing. And I think that is just a signal. You can tell me if you agree with me that you are deeply disconnected from your body because your body is giving you producing sensations all day,
All
every
day,
day, without skipping a beat. There is no moment that your body is not producing many, many, many sensations.
You are absolutely correct. Absolutely. And what she's done when we are in this, I call it functional freeze state, and you might be in sympathetic plus that dorsal vagal where you're just completely dissociated from your body.
Yeah.
But we do not pick up on those interception signals. We've trained
Yeah.
ourselves to ignore it. You skip
Mhm.
lunch. As a therapist, you might you don't pee for 10 hours, you
As a nurse also.
was yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we've told our body, shut up, we're not listening to you. Maybe not. Well, no, we've told our body that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
this signal's numb and I mean, your nervous system is doing what it's designed to do. It's like, okay, she don't want to hear it. So we're just going to go
Yeah.
over here. When
Yeah.
I have ladies starting to thaw, or I said defrost like
Oh,
my
I
mom
like
used to.
that. I
Yeah.
like that word. That's a great word for it.
Well, yeah, to get things back online,
Yeah.
um, when you're in full blown sympathetic or dorsal vagal, your frontal cortex isn't really available to do the yummy meditations that you're doing.
Mhm.
And they're wonderful.
Mhm.
I went to a 2 week silent retreat
Mm.
meditation where I was a lot. I thought,
Yeah.
oh, Julie's a lot. I mean, you really got to work up to that. But
Yeah.
these ladies are not quite ready for that. So
Yeah.
I start mine with a walking meditation, which
Okay.
you get some movement. And
Yeah.
I've got this one gal, she's amazing. So she's doing the walking meditation, heel toe, and her feet start burning. She was
Mhm.
like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Just that is a cautionary tale to everyone. When we start thawing or defrosting,
Hmm.
you're going to notice some of the interception
Yeah.
information come online, and it might come back like, huh, here I
Yeah.
am. I
Yeah.
always have him go to a medical doctor to rule out anything else. But he was
Right.
like, Chicky Poo, I think you're defrosting. Not his
Right.
words, mine, but
Yes.
it's nervous system stuff. At first, it was very intense.
Yeah.
It's gotten better and better to where
Yeah.
it's not that big a deal now. But she was just so fascinated
Yeah.
that her body was starting to talk to her. And sometimes it'll come on and go, okay, we hadn't talked in a while. We got some
Right.
things
Yeah,
to
I'm pissed off actually. You have not been
yeah,
listening to me for like 50 years and I'm
that's
super pissed and you're going to hear about it.
yeah. Have my temper fit and then we'll get to it.
Yes. I
Yeah.
always try to use the analogy of your body being like your best friend and a relationship with your best friend and treating her as you would treat a close friend. And what would happen to the relationship with your best friend if you didn't listen to her or if you always spoke unkindly to her, right? Because that negative self-talk we say to ourselves all day long. I mean, how would that relationship go? Probably not very well.
Yeah.
So we can't expect anything different from our bodies.
Oh, absolutely. And those thoughts, of course, a thought, just because we have a thought doesn't mean it's true.
Mhm.
It took me a
Yes.
lot of years
Yes.
to learn that. I was like, oh, I can, but we have thoughts. And then, especially when we're this floating head of competence, we
Hmm.
have thoughts, we believe them to be true, and
Yeah.
that can dysregulate our nervous system. Just how we're, I mean, talking to ourselves in that
Hmm.
very hateful manner can
Yeah.
very much keep us in sympathetic state. I
Yeah.
like to, and I was having to do this yesterday. So I was working on that comprehensive assessment plan. But I, I like to also, and I teach my ladies this too, but to pat my face or hand, whatever works for you.
Right.
Say your name, your amygdala, your brain needs to hear your name.
Yeah.
Julie, you're doing the best you can, sweetness. You are doing the
Yeah.
best you can. So you get a little hit of oxytocin as
Yeah.
well. And
Yes.
that's going to help that nervous system. Okay, she's talking to us. We're doing,
Yeah.
we're doing the best we can, which is so
Right.
much better than call yourself a dumbass or whatever, and
Right.
which is going to
Yeah.
release cortisol, and we don't
Right.
we don't
Yes.
want that.
Yes. No, we don't. No, we don't.
Yeah.
Yes, I recently started doing that myself with and not even in specific to something, but just in general, like I wake up in the morning, I put a hand to my heart and I say, I love you. I love you, Katie. I'm here with you. Like, do you have
Yeah.
anything you want to share with me this morning? Is there anything you want to tell me? Like, just
So important.
again, just like checking in, like, hey, like I'm here. I got you. Like we're in this together. And
Yeah.
it is really transformative. Just a tiny little shift like that can be very, very
Huge.
meaningful. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
That and I don't know why this came to mind, but I'll share it. I I I, I had an eating disorder for a number of years. And talk about hating your body. Talk about
Yeah.
hating yourself. Talk about I can remember and maybe I weighed 90 pounds.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
not fat, but
Yeah.
hitting my stomach, just being just so
Mm,
disgusted by myself. And I know I'm not the only woman listening that has experienced or is
hmm.
experiencing eating disorder, but that's a
Yeah.
horrible place. The self-hatred. But think
Yeah.
about what that does to your nervous system. Think about
Yes.
how what that's telling your body. This is not a
Yeah.
safe place to be. This is not a person I
Yeah.
love. So yeah,
Yeah.
I love your
Hmm.
analogy of treating your body like your best friend.
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
really it is. It's how you've experienced all the
Yes.
sensations out in the world.
Yes.
And the and another great place for oxytocin because it's our love hormone. I mean,
Mhm.
to when I'm because I've done lots of marriage counseling and that's one thing that led to my new book, Are We Gonna Have Sex or What?
I love that title. I read that title. I was like, oh, it's fantastic.
I said that to my husband 40 years ago on our first date.
Oh, really? Oh, that sounds so great.
And anyway, he said that's anyway. Um, okay, you're gonna have to re-guide me. Gosh, where was I
Wait a
going?
minute.
Well,
Treating your body like your best friend, eating disorder, really hating yourself.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, yes.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I've done lots of marriage counseling. And one thing that I really notice women can get, it's usually about sex, money, boils down to communication. It's about
Hmm.
connection. It's
Right.
about connection.
Yes.
You can have
Yes.
sex and not feel connected. I,
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
there's so much. So I will give an assignment that we're going to take genitals and intercourse off the table for at least a month.
Mhm.
One of them might flip me the bird, but we're like, we're doing it because we've got to get that body to feel safe again. We've got to get them
Yeah.
co-regulated. We've got to
Yeah.
get those mirror neurons back online.
Yeah.
So even well, I assigned this. I need 5-minute hugs. Yeah. They look at me like,
Yeah.
I'm touching this person for 5 minutes. Yes, you are.
Right.
We're doing it. Because we get some oxytocin hits when we have those
Hmm.
nice long hugs.
Yeah.
And you think about couples, especially that I've worked with over the years, ladies I'm
Hmm.
working with, they don't make time for that. It
Yeah.
might be a pat or it might be a wave, but to make time to just, we got to go back to the everything we need to know we learned in kindergarten, you know,
Hmm.
and
Love that poem.
yeah, yeah. And that connection. And I think that's something that we forget. Sex isn't
Yeah.
necessarily connection.
Yeah.
So really staring at your partner, and I don't mean in a weird way, but I'll you know, or maybe if that's how you want to do it, but sitting together, holding hands,
Yeah.
looking into each other's eyes, which are the soul. I
Hmm.
mean, those are the window to our soul.
Yeah.
Um, I have them sit back to back and breathe to regulate the breathing because that's part of co-regulation.
Mm.
Um, really simple things
Yeah.
where the pressure of, oh, I've got to perform sex is
Hmm.
off the table.
Yeah.
We're just going to be connected. That's a really important place to start when you want to invite pleasure and desire back in the room.
Yeah.
And and I'm sure you know this, but it's worth stating. So many ladies, we don't realize um, it's very unusual. Maybe 10%, 10 to 15% of women population wake up horny, have just this spontaneous
Right.
desire.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and if you're one of those, high five, lady. That
God bless you.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the other 85 to 90% of us, it's responsive desire,
Yes. Yeah.
contextual. And as
Hmm.
we get older, it might take a little longer for that responsive response
Yeah.
to come online. And I think it's very important to have those really connected conversations with your partner that
Hmm.
my body's changed a bit. And I always want those conversations to happen clothed outside the
Hmm.
bedroom
Yeah.
because we don't want shame or blame or anything to come in the way because
Yeah.
partners can get their feelings hurt thinking, oh, yeah, I'm being rejected. You just don't love me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's not, that's where that connection and those really important conversations come online.
Yeah.
Um, I use a book when I'm doing marriage counseling, and this one's kind of biblically based, but it's not just in your face. It's called Love and Respect. And the essence is women need to feel loved and
Hmm.
men need to feel respected. Now, I know that I don't want to be stereotypical, it can be different for everyone, but it really does give couples a place to go, oh, wow, that's important because that's going to affect the
Yeah.
bedroom too. If
Yes.
if those basic kind of needs in the relationship are not getting met. And what
Hmm.
happens when we're PO'd? Dysregulated nervous system.
Yeah. 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 And what you're saying is kind of making me think. Uh, so I don't know how I want to phrase this. So I feel like what you're describing, and I know exactly what you're describing because my husband and I have had this conversation since forever. I can't just we just can't just go there. Like I need to feel connected to you first. And then
Right,
that sense of connection leads to the desire.
right.
And I'm wondering if that is also creating safety in the nervous system. Like when you feel connected to someone, does that create that sense of safety? And that is why desire wakes up because the nervous system does downregulate and allow
Yeah.
you to open and receive.
Oh, absolutely. When we get the ventral vagal state, that's our spontaneous, that's our connection, that's our social place. So absolutely, safety is everything. And yeah,
Yeah.
connection. You, she feels seen, she feels heard, she feels
Hmm.
protected. It's
Yeah.
safe for me to open up and
Yes.
be with this person.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I always knew the connection piece. I could see it, but I didn't relate it to the nervous system and a sense of safety that comes with that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that is huge. And the respect piece, and then I understand what you're saying. We don't want to overgeneralize. But how would you say the respect piece fits into the nervous system? Is that also related?
Well, and that would be, well, absolutely. I mean, you don't feel safe with someone. I don't care if you're male or female. You don't feel safe with someone if you feel disrespected or
Yeah.
put down or, yeah, like you're going to say something to
Yeah.
hurt my feelings, you know,
Yes.
and I'm going to
Right.
react to
Always got to
that.
be on guard. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and of course, I'm 63. My husband's in his late 50s. So, we were raised in a different time, perhaps, but I've always, because I respect him. I love him so much. And I always go out of my way to let him know because people can't read our mind. So it's
Hmm.
really important if you, and I have this conversation in my counseling room. I'll say, maybe someone says something really nice about the partner. I said, well, have you told them this?
Hmm.
Oh,
Hmm.
no. Or I
Yeah.
really wish X would do this. Well, and oh, this week they did that. Well, did you let them know how much you appreciated that? Oh, no. Yeah. I mean, it's, it's just,
Yes. Oh, I'm so guilty of that one. I'm over here nodding away. I'm so guilty of that one. That is one I am absolutely working on. I think it in my head. It always doesn't
yeah.
always make it out of my mouth. Yeah.
Well, that can be a bit of an aphrodisiac. I mean, that can be
Yeah.
foreplay.
Yes,
Um,
for sure.
those little things like that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, so the first step is helping women come back into their bodies. And then where do you go from there when you're working with women?
Um, Once we get her back in her body, and a part of that also, I mean, I'm a yoga instructor too. I've got some goat yoga. I got some goats out here. We do.
Ah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I'm on a ranch, but
Uh,
I want it's slow. Okay. And we may not partner for a while. It may
mhm,
be just me, her for a while, but um, just simple things like placing your hands on your heart chakra, maybe on your sacral
mhm,
chakra,
mhm,
little, um, just little hip circles because we are so
mm,
braced and
yep,
frozen in that area. We
yep,
maybe just laying in a butterfly pose for a while, getting that
mhm,
sacral area open up. Those fascia hold
yeah,
some trauma for ladies. Now it might be generational or it
yeah,
might be personal,
right,
but knowing it's amazing to me how many times when we start getting those hips opened, tears flow,
yeah,
emotions flow,
yeah,
and having her hold space for that and not judge that. Let me just be
yeah,
curious about that. Let me be tender
mhm,
about that.
yeah,
So that creating a way to hold space for her is really important without,
mhm,
and I know I said it earlier, but it's very important. No judgment, just curiosity.
right,
And then maybe there's a little assignment. I live in Texas. I'm about 80 miles outside of Fort Worth, which is the only big town around me. So, and I don't do Dallas. I just go to Fort Worth. Any Dallas people, I love Dallas, but I'm a Fort Worth girl. I was raised there. So, but there's some great high-end sex stores for couples now.
mhm,
But this is a solid, this she's doing on her own. I'll send her to
okay,
a sex store to get a lovely new vibrator, not
yeah,
for genital work yet. We're taking genitals off the table still,
okay,
but just a pleasure map because she is so out of touch where her body
yeah,
has any kind of pleasure.
yeah,
And just to if she can tolerate doing it naked in front of a mirror, do that. I have some
mhm,
gals where we're just not there yet. That's fine.
yeah,
But just kind of, and I'm rubbing on my wrist, just rubbing that vibrator on your body
mhm,
um, to see what even feels good anymore. I've
yeah,
had breast cancer. I had double mastectomy and a reconstruction. My breasts feel
mm,
very different than they did at
yep,
30,
mhm,
but that's okay. I still have pleasure that I wouldn't have known had I not experimented.
yeah,
So that's the very first thing for her to map that and
mhm,
know for herself. There's no expectation of anything except leaving those genitals alone for
yeah.
those are off the table for a while. Eventually she moves there.
Yeah.
But first, I want her to have no pressure or expectations. And
Hmm.
the next month, maybe she and her partner decide to pleasure map together, genitals off the table. We're just
Okay.
trying to see where intercourse off the table, unless it's
Yeah.
spontaneous and you just have to do it. But
Right.
the pressure, we
Yeah.
get pressured by sex.
Yes,
It's
yes.
one more performance,
Hmm.
one more thing to do. And that's why I also tell couples, please don't add sex to your to-do list
Hmm.
because it's just, you look at it and go, you know, more thing. Um, put holding hands,
Yeah.
just without expectations. And I tell you, with couples, I might have them, even before I get them to pleasure map, maybe we just sit on the sofa and hold hands and just feel the warmth of each other's hands.
Hmm.
We connect through that hand holding. On
Yeah.
my Sexy After 50 podcast, every Friday, I give a quick assignment for the weekend for the couples. They can do it or not, but the idea is to take pressure, expectations off the list.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sex is not always about an orgasm, too.
Mm. Yeah, it can just be about the connection between the two
Right.
people. Yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many friends that I have who have described it exactly as you're saying. Just one more thing to do, feeling a lot of pressure because their partner has a very robust
Right.
sexual
Appetite.
appetite. Yes,
Yeah.
and they have none, literally, and feeling this sense of, pressure as you described, and then engaging in the act, as you mentioned, just so that they will
Off
stop
again.
feeling the pressure. Right? It's just another thing that's dysregulating the nervous system that you feel this intense obligation to do something you don't really want to do that involves your own body. I mean, it is the most intimate thing that you can do with your body. And it's almost, to me, I always looked at it as like a small trauma every time that it happens, because if you don't really want to in that moment and you're just doing it to kind of get somebody off your back or
Yeah.
appease them, or because you do love them and you're like, okay, this is important to them, so I'll do it. But it's still
Yeah.
a very intimate thing to be doing with your body if you don't really want to be doing it.
You're absolutely right. And it tells your body I'm not safe. This is not a
Yeah.
safe place for uh, me to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does involve my trauma on a continuum,
Yeah.
especially if we do it again and again, and then we lie to our bodies.
Yeah.
Your body's like, can I can I even trust you? You know.
Right, right.
Um,
Yeah. And then the self-judgment comes back in because you're like, well, why do I feel this way? Why do, what's the matter with me? I should want
yeah.
to do this, all the things that
Yeah,
yeah,
it just I mean, we stay in that constant stress cycle without a completion.
yeah,
And not just because of sex, but that's one thing that adds to it. But
yeah,
I've got to do this. I got to make something, cupcakes for the soccer team. I got to,
yeah,
both kids have a game at the same time in three different places. Oh, well,
yeah,
two different places. But anyway, our
yeah,
nervous system it doesn't get the signal from
yeah,
us that it can complete that stress cycle. What,
yeah,
if you watch a zebra in the wild, I don't know why I pick a zebra, but I'll say a zebra in the wild, and say a lion is trying to get it and the zebra gets away, that's a huge stress cycle. But
mhm,
and the zebra is able to complete that stress cycle. If you watch,
yeah.
I mean, I do equine therapy too. I've got some horses out here, and I've got a real
I
smart
need to
aleck.
come to your house.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything
come.
you're saying, I'm like, can I please come to your house, Julie?
Of course, anytime. But I've got a real smart aleck horse that every time I get his saddle off, he starts shaking like, ugh. But animals do that. That
Yes.
we need to be doing that. If we
Yeah.
are in, even if it's hubby or partner wanted sex and it's like, not right now, that it put us into a stress cycle. You need to get rid
Yes.
of that energy.
Yes.
And believe it or not, shaking really helps. We are made to do that.
Yeah, it really does. I see it in my dog also. I mean, you can definitely see it even in your household pets,
Yeah.
that they shake off their stress, and it does really work. You might feel a little silly in the beginning doing it,
Yeah.
but it feels good enough that it's worth it. And I think many of us have experienced events that are stressful enough that we have uncontrollable shaking, like the
Right.
shaking just
Right.
happens. That doesn't feel so good,
No.
but the choosing to shake it out actually feels really fantastic.
It's so yummy. And if while we do that, we take we breathe in four, hold five, exhale six with it sounds like orgasm. I've done it with a room full of women where they're going, it's quite fun.
Yes.
But your vagus nerve runs right through your throat there. We're working on vagal
Right.
tone.
Yeah.
And that, girl, I was doing that at 5 years old without even knowing what I
Yeah.
was doing when I would get upset. I'd breathe. But it
Yeah.
works. It
Yeah.
works. Or pop in a lemon drop or something really sharp, a really sharp taste
Yeah.
can help that nervous system kick out of sympathetic and
Yeah.
help you get back into ventral state. I'm also an EMDR therapist, and
Okay.
so as which is deep trauma work. And
Hmm.
as if my client is beginning to dissociate, which we do when we are really in dorsal
Hmm.
vagal,
Yeah.
a very good way to get to help your nervous system come back into that ventral state, which is where we want to be. That's
Mm.
our social state. Big deep breath. Name 5 things you see. Name
Hmm.
3 things you hear. Name 2 things you feel.
Yeah.
1 thing you smell. That using our senses like that is a
Yeah.
great way to get back in the moment
Yes.
and regulate a bit.
Yes.
So many things. None of this stuff costs money. You know, the
Yeah.
stuff that helps.
Yeah.
We've been socialized out of it. You know?
Yes, we really have. No, you're so right. I mean, none of it costs money. They're all very simple practices, very accessible. That we call that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I use that with my son who he's doing better now, but he was having a period of pretty intense panic attacks. And that was very helpful for him, that process of 5 things you can see and 4 things you can hear. And yeah, just bringing them back to the present moment.
Well,
Yeah.
that tells your nervous system, okay, there's no saber tooth. I'm okay.
Yes.
You know, and the
Yes.
amygdala calms down and
Yes,
that's
absolutely. And so how does this relate to our self-worth? So do you think that part of the problem or part of the issue with our nervous system being constantly in a sympathetic state is related to either, I guess, multiple questions, our own self-worth or connection to ourselves and connection to something bigger than ourselves?
mm,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. When we are, as we talked about earlier, if we're being so mean to ourselves, self-flagellating, just thinking we're awful, that saying horrible things to ourselves that we would
Mhm.
never say out loud to another human. I have
Yeah.
said things to myself I would never repeat to another human. That's going to impact how we feel about ourselves. Your solar plexus, your self-efficacy, your
Yeah.
belief in yourself is going to get completely turned upside down.
Mhm.
And that's going to tell your body, I'm not safe. I'm not safe with
Yeah.
this woman.
Yeah.
I'm not safe
Not
with
safe
this
with
woman.
myself.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not. I don't trust her. I don't. And of course, crown chakra. That's our spirituality
Mhm.
connection to something greater than ourselves. I think that's eminently important.
Yeah.
Um, that that question of what does life mean?
Mhm.
What do I me being here? What does this mean? Is
Yeah.
it am I even is it worth me working on all this stuff? I mean, it's a very
Yeah.
esoteric question,
It is.
but I think that's very important. And as a
Mhm.
counselor, and I train my students in this, and we have to check where people's spirituality is. And I'm not
Mhm.
talking religion, I'm talking
Mhm.
spirituality,
Yeah.
connection to something bigger than ourselves. Because
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Viktor Frankl's work,
Mhm.
where, he's in that concentration camp.
Mhm.
And he realizes these soldiers aren't going to make my life
Mhm.
pleasant at all. But he
Yeah.
grew and expanded and really had a sense of who he was
Yeah.
as a human based
Yes.
on that. I bet his crown chakra was so evolved, you know, based on bigger, life,
Yeah.
things being bigger than we are. I think that's really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Um,
It can be, I think, a little bit of a touchy subject because not everyone believes in not everyone participates in a type of religion, or
yeah,
maybe they say they don't even believe in God. But I think that we can still, even if you are not religious and you really actually don't believe in a God, you can still connect to nature. You can still
right.
connect to energy, the energy or consciousness of the universe. You can still
Yeah.
connect to a cause, like a great cause. There are things that you can connect to beyond what we traditionally maybe called God historically for many of us. But I
Right.
do think that that connection is powerful because I think that it settles us into a knowing that there's something bigger than me that is at work here, and it's has an intelligence and it has a divine order,
Yeah.
and that is very regulating to the nervous system.
Oh, very, very. And even my son lives in Montana. My oldest son does, and there's a lot of Native American reservations out there, and I've learned more about. They have I mean, it's about nature, but they have a beautiful
Yeah,
belief system built on that.
yeah,
If we don't have a something we believe in bigger than us, I think it kicks
mhm,
us into an existential crisis, which is
yeah,
really Viktor Frankl. I mean, Frankl's work when
yeah,
uh, what is the meaning of life? What is the
yeah.
meaning of death? And
Hmm.
that's one thing we're guaranteed. We're all, we're all going to
Yes,
die, man.
yes.
But I do see folks that I work with that have a belief that there's something bigger than them, whatever it might be. It might be the tree. I
Right.
have this giant oak tree out my window here.
Yeah,
It might be the
yeah,
oak tree.
yeah,
But it really helps us define how we live
yeah,
and yeah, the value of our life.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, for me, I find it to be grounding.
Yeah.
It, and it's going to be different for everybody, but
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and that's the key. I think everyone has to find their own access point to where they can enter that realm of identifying with something bigger than themselves, that they are a part of something that's bigger. But we can all define what that is for
yeah,
ourselves. Each
oh,
person can
absolutely.
define what that is for themselves. But it kind of, I don't want to say take we get off the hook, but in other words, if we don't believe in that, then everything that happens, I am responsible, right? If it's something good, I'm responsible. If it's something bad, I'm responsible. Like it all begins and ends with me. And that is a lot of pressure on
Mhm.
ourselves. And I think that can keep us in a dysregulated state to
Oh,
feel like the weight of the world is on my shoulders. I have to hold it up and I cannot release even for a second, or everything is going to fall apart.
yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, that just amps me up hearing that.
Right.
Like, oh man, I don't want to be that responsible.
No, me neither. If actually if that were the reality, well, the people in my life would be in big trouble because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not so good at
right.
that.
Can you, I'm trained in bioenergetics, which is a type of therapy that works just on energy. And anyway, I'm working with a lady who had a lot of shoulder pain, and so so as she's talking about her, this is kind of what I believe. Yeah, what you said is exactly. She felt like she was here holding the
Yeah,
world up,
yeah,
and her neck hurt and her shoulders hurt.
yeah, yeah,
Well, for good reason. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, that's a lot of
yeah,
responsibility.
yeah.
Nothing good's going to come from that.
All right. Well, I want to stay true to our time here. Do you have anything that we you want to mention that we did not cover?
Um, no, just thank you so much for having me. It is
Of
never too
course.
late for the excavation and your
Yeah.
homecoming, and it's a
Yeah.
great place to live inside
Yes.
your body.
Yes, it really is. I attest to that. And I will make sure to put all of your stuff, all your books and your podcast and all ways of contacting you in the show notes. So if people want to
Thank you.
dive in deeper, they can do that.
I appreciate that. Thank
All
you.
right. All right. Thanks so much, Julie. Okay, my friends. Well, if you are the woman that I described at the beginning of this episode, I hope that you learned a lot in the last 60 minutes. I hope you really came to understand that you can feel desire at this age, that it is possible, and you can enjoy sex, and you can feel passionate and lit up and excited about receiving pleasure, that there is nothing wrong with you, And there is a way to turn things around if you are in that space of lacking desire at this time. Before we go, I want to invite you to sign up for my newsletter. I send a weekly newsletter, and it is a combination of yoga philosophy and practices and midlife and how those two things intertwine, because yoga is not something that we just do for an hour on the mat. It is a way of thinking, speaking, perceiving, and acting. It's a way of living. And it is particularly useful in phases of our lives where we're going through a lot of transition, where there's a lot of uncertainty, where we're going through challenging experiences, and when we're in transformation, like midlife. This is when the philosophy and the practices really become so incredibly helpful on the journey. So if you are looking for more clarity, more peace, more purpose, more connection in this phase of life, then sign up for the newsletter and you will receive it right to your inbox. Namaste, friends. Have a beautiful week ahead, and I will talk to you next time.